What's up, guys? This is TheKephas. Today I'm going to show you some macros that I've created with Gnome Sequencer Enhanced, an extremely powerful add-on that allows you to create robust macros that can perform most, if not all, of your rotation with a single button. This can be extremely useful if you have a disability like myself, or if you just want to be lazy. Bear in mind that these macros can be extremely helpful, but they also have their limits, so they're made primarily for those who are playing the game at a more casual level. But feel free to use them as you see fit. If you'd like to learn more about Gnome Sequencer and how to use it, I recommend that you head over to Wow Lazy Macros. You can find links to all of that, and to import strings for these macros in the description. Today we're going to be checking out the macro that I've created for Enhancement Shamans in Season of Discovery. Now, of all the macros I've done thus far, this is by far the easiest. Enhancement Shaman rotation is very simple, incredibly straightforward. You almost don't even really need a macro, but I've got one and it does do some stuff, so that's pretty cool. We'll check it out here in a second, but there are a few things I want to go over first. Obviously, you can tell I'm only level 15. I don't have all the runes I need. I don't have all my talent points, obviously, but it's cool because I have everything I need to make the macro work, and thus I'm able to get it out to you guys sooner. I'm trying to level up all the classes here and get through this as quickly as possible, so it's a challenge, and I'm trying to get things out to you guys as quickly as I can. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at what runes I do have. Now, the most essential rune, I would say, at least in terms of the macro, is Lava Lash. You are going to want this rune for Enhancement Shamans, and this is what's going to be included in the macro for sure. We'll look at the macro here in a little bit, but with this, rune, you're going to want to make sure that you are dual wielding. Obviously, you want to make sure you put Flame Tongue on your offhanded weapon. So that's what's going on. And since you are dual wielding, the obvious other rune would be Dual Wield Specialization. Now, I don't have this one yet. I need to be a little bit of a higher level before I can even start working on getting this one. So unfortunately, I don't have it, but it doesn't really matter. It's a passive. It's just going to make dual wielding better, so it doesn't affect the macro at all. I can still dual wield now, so it's fine, but this is killing me not to have this one. I can't wait to get this. It's going to be awesome once I do, so I'm looking forward to that, but I don't need it to demonstrate and get the macro working. So that's kind of the idea there. I'm currently just using Overload still. It's not really that useful for Enhancement Shaman, but it's there. That's what's up. Obviously, Shield Mastery wouldn't work at all because you need 2 weapons, so yeah, it's fine. It's whatever. Now, with my legs, I only have Way of Earth, and to be honest, Way of Earth is okay. I just put Rock Biter on my main hand and Flame Tongue on my offhand, and I'm good to go. This makes me a little bit more tanky. It does change up how Earth Shock works a little bit, but it's not really that big a deal. It just puts it on a separate cooldown from Flame Shock, which is whatever. But it's fine. I mean, like I said, it makes me a little bit more tanky. It's there. The rune I would prefer to get, I want to have to be level 25 before I can get this one, I believe, is a Shamanistic Rage. This is a great rune, good for mana regen. It's going to be awesome once I can get this. This is a great rune in general for basically every shaman that isn't a tank or a healer. So that's kind of the idea. But yeah, that right now I'm just Way of Earth. I'm just using both of the, weapon buffs. So it is what it is, like I said. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm going with. Now, as for my talent build, don't judge me. I'm not really an authority on talent builds anyways. It's like, again, I don't want to keep saying it is what it is, but I didn't want to respec just to, just to mess around, because I'm playing a lot of different specs with Shaman right now, and it really, it won't impact the rotation anyways. So I'm sticking with my elemental build, which I've shown before. It's a little useful, to be fair. I am using shocks, so it does help me a little bit. I obviously don't have all my talents anyways, but there really isn't a whole lot that is super strong for enhancement. You can improve your mana, you can improve critical strikes, that kind of stuff, improve if you want to Ghost Wolf. There's a little bit of utility in here. Improve your totems. Obviously, you don't want to go two-handed, and of course getting down the flurry is going to be nice for sure, but for now it's fine. Like I said, it's not that big a deal that I'm not switching. But there's definitely some talents there, but it's nothing too crazy. So anywho, yeah, I'm just kind of sticking with my elemental build that I've been using this whole time, just so I don't have to spend money on speccing. It's hard like to spec back and forth. I wish there was dual spec in the game, and that's just kind of why I'm just sticking with it, because it's, you know, money's hard to come by. So please bear with me, but yeah, it doesn't really matter that much. It's not going to impact the macro or the rotation anyways. With that being said, let's go ahead and actually take a look at this macro by typing /GSE. The macro we're looking at today is called TheKephas, ENH, short for enhancement. This is an all-in-one macro for enhancement shamans. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. Now again, this is really straightforward because essentially your shaman only needs to use 2 main abilities. Maybe you could, I mean 3 really, but the 2 main abilities are Flame Shock and Lava Lash once you have that rune. Without that rune, you're literally just Flame Shock and Earth Shock. So what this macro is going to do, it's going to use both of those abilities. Mainly, that's what it's going to do. It's also going to use Earth Shock. So the way this works is I've put Flame Shock and Earth Shock in a cast sequence. I've actually done this with pretty much every one of my shaman macros. So Flame Shock and Earth Shock share a cooldown. So the macro is going to use Flame Shock, and then it's going to wait 6 seconds, and then use, or however long the cooldown is, and then use Earth Shock, and then wait for the cooldown to expire again, and then use Flame Shock again. And so Earth Shock is there to stagger out Flame Shock and prevent you from overcasting it. So I put those 2 together since they share a cooldown. Now, Earth Shock is a little bit more mana intensive. You could always use Frost Shock instead once you get that one if you want, and that's a little bit less mana intensive. So that's an option. And once you get Frost Shock, you can totally switch. The idea is anyways, like when you're playing Enhancement Shaman, you use the proper shock based on how much mana you have anyways. So it's up to you how you do that, but that's how I'm doing it. So yeah, I mean, I guess you could technically create a second macro and have Frost Shock instead of Earth Shock in that, and then use which one ever according to how much mana you have if you want. I mean, that's a little bit extra, but it's an option for sure. And then, I mean, aside from that, the macro is just going to be using Lava Lash, and that's really all the macro is going to use. And then, of course, you know, we're going to start attack and target enemy no harm dead. We want to make sure that we are getting our melee swings in there. So straightforward, pretty simple. The macro is going to be keeping Flame Shock up, using your Earth Shock, and then using Lava Lash. Once it's available, using that one on cooldown. Lava Lash has a pretty short cooldown, and it doesn't use a lot of mana at all, which is really cool. So it's a really fun ability. Make sure you are keeping your Flame Tongue up on your offhand, and you know, I Rock Biter on my main hand's what I'm doing. Make sure you're doing that. Obviously, those are abilities you're gonna have to manage on separate buttons, along with your totems, along with your utilities, lightning shield or whatever. You're gonna obviously be using all those on separate buttons, but they're utilities, so that's kind of how it works. And then the last thing is to remember your weapon swing timers. You are dual wielding, so there's a lot to keep track of there. Make sure you're trying not to interrupt your weapon swings too much. You want to make sure you keep getting those off, and then, you know, obviously watch your mana. That's going to be the biggest thing. If you just kind of spam the macro too much, then you're going to run out of mana. So just be careful. Just try to keep that, you know, those main abilities on cooldown. Flame Shock, keep that going, and, you know, Lava Lash as well. So that's pretty much everything you need to know about this macro, how it works. It's incredibly straightforward. You know, Enhancement Shaman is a pretty easy class to play in terms of the rotation, and it's pretty fun. So yeah, let me know what you think about this macro in the comments below if you use it. And with all that being said, I will see you guys on the next one.
Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, let me know by clicking that like button. And feel free to share it with your friends so they can enjoy it as well. And if you'd like to see more videos, you can subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon to be notified as soon as new videos are posted. You can also follow me on Facebook, and if you'd like, you can support my work on Patreon. Links to all that stuff can be found in the description below. This is TheKephas. Until next time.